Let me ask you something. What would your life look like if you could delete every single negative thought from your mind right now? What if I told you that the only thing standing between you and the life you truly want is that voice inside your head that says you can't? That voice is a liar. It's not your truth. It's just a habit, and today we're going to break that habit for good. You see, negative thinking isn't something we're born with, it's something we practice. Over time, we let fear, failure, rejection, and past pain wire our brain for survival instead of success. But listen closely, you are not your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts. And when you own that power, everything changes. So if you're sick and tired of living under the weight of doubt, anxiety, and emotional paralysis, then it's time to step up. It's time to learn how to eliminate negative thinking and rewire your mind for growth, confidence, and action. The truth is, most people don't even realize how negative they've become. It's so subtle. It hides in your self-talk. It hides in your assumptions. You say things like, "I'm not good enough," or "things never work out for me," and you think that's just who you are. But that's not who you are. That's a pattern you've repeated so many times that you forgot it's optional. Awareness means stepping outside yourself and becoming the observer of your thoughts, not the victim of them. You can't change something you're not aware of. So the first step is to stop running on autopilot and start catching yourself in the act. Start noticing the language you use when you fail. Listen to the tone in your voice when you talk about your future. Ask yourself, would I speak this way to someone I love? Once you become aware, you interrupt the pattern. And interruption is power. It's the first wedge you drive between the old you and the new you. Every time you catch a negative thought, you weaken its power. You start to train your brain to see possibilities instead of problems. You begin to choose your thoughts instead of reacting to them, and choice is freedom. This is not about being fake, positive. It's about being real, and realizing that you have the authority to override the default negativity with intentional, empowering thought. That's the first step, and once you master that, the whole game changes. Where focus goes, energy flows. That's not just a quote, it's a universal truth. Whatever you consistently focus on, you begin to feel. And whatever you feel long enough becomes your state. And your state, that determines your decisions, your actions, and ultimately, your destiny. So if you're living in a state of fear, anxiety, frustration, or hopelessness, chances are you're focusing on everything that's wrong, everything you've lost, or everything you fear might happen. But here's the wake-up call. You can take control of that focus starting right now. Your brain is like a heat-seeking missile. It finds what you tell it to find. If you focus on lack, you will see scarcity everywhere. If you focus on betrayal, you'll start to question everyone's loyalty. But if you shift your focus, if you look for growth, possibility, and progress, you'll start to find that too. It's not magic. It's neuroplasticity. Your brain literally reshapes itself based on what you repeatedly think about. And this isn't just about thinking positive thoughts. It's about choosing empowering focus in the middle of chaos. It's about asking better questions. Instead of "why does this always happen to me?" you ask, "what can I learn from this?" Or "how can I use this?" The moment you shift from victim to student, your emotional state changes. Your power returns. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same experience, but one becomes broken while the other becomes stronger. Why? It's not luck. It's focus. One focused on pain, the other focused on purpose. That's the difference, and that difference makes all the difference. So every day, train your mind like a warrior. Start your mornings by focusing on what you're grateful for. When challenges hit, discipline your focus toward the outcome you want, not the fear you feel. You can't always control what happens, but you can absolutely control what you focus on. And that control is the gateway to peace, progress, and unstoppable momentum. Words are not just sounds, they are triggers. They are codes that your brain instantly translates into emotion. The language you use daily, whether out loud or in your mind, has the power to create joy, courage, and power. Or pain, fear, and paralysis. That's why changing your language is one of the fastest ways to change your emotional state. Think about this. When something goes wrong, do you say, "I'm devastated"? Or do you say, "This is a challenge"? If you say you're devastated, your body slumps, your energy crashes, your brain believes it's a disaster. But if you call it a challenge, your brain kicks into problem-solving mode. The event is the same, but the emotional experience is completely different. Why? Because of language. Most people have no idea how toxic their vocabulary has become. They exaggerate failure with words like always, never, ruined, or hopeless. But the truth is, your language is either programming you for suffering or training you for strength. When you say, "I'm broken," your identity starts to match it. When you say, "I'm figuring this out," your brain opens to solutions. Tony Robbins calls this idea transformational vocabulary. If you want to live a higher quality life, you need to use higher quality words. For example, instead of saying, "I'm anxious," say, "I'm feeling a little challenged, but I'm resourceful." Instead of "This is the worst thing ever," say, "This is a difficult moment, but I've overcome worse." These shifts may sound small, but they create massive momentum in your emotional state. And remember, it's not just the words you speak out loud. It's the words you whisper to yourself when no one is listening. That inner dialogue becomes your emotional home, and your emotional home becomes the place you live your life from. So if you want to eliminate negative thinking, you must become a master of your language. Talk to yourself like someone you respect. Replace judgment with curiosity. Swap out drama for clarity. And above all, speak possibility, even in the face of pressure. Because the words you choose will either anchor you or set you free. Here's the truth. Your emotions don't just live in your head. They live in your body, your posture, your breath, your facial expressions, your movement. All of it sends signals to your brain about how you're feeling. So if you're slouched over, breathing shallow, shoulders hunched, eyes down, you're literally sending your nervous system a message: "I'm defeated, I'm stressed, I'm not safe." And your brain responds with more fear, more anxiety, more negative thoughts. But flip that. Imagine standing tall, shoulders back, chest open, breathing deeply, moving with energy and intention. What happens? Your brain starts to interpret that as confidence. It starts releasing different chemicals. You feel stronger, more grounded, more certain. That's not just psychological. It's biochemical. This is why Tony Robbins always says, emotion is created by motion. Want to change how you feel? Don't start with your thoughts. Start with your body. Most people try to think their way out of a negative state, but you can't think clearly when your body is locked in a pattern of fear. You have to interrupt the pattern physically first. You ever notice how hard it is to feel depressed while jumping up and down or dancing to your favorite song? That's not an accident. That's physiology in action. Movement changes your mental state faster than any mantra or affirmation ever will. Because when you move differently, you feel differently. And when you feel differently, you start to think differently. And this doesn't mean you need to run a marathon or bench press 300 pounds. Sometimes it's as simple as taking a walk, stretching your arms out, breathing in deeply, or shouting an empowering phrase with emotion. You're not just pumping up your muscles, you're training your state. You're reminding your brain and body that you're in control. Every day, you need to condition your physiology the same way you would train your muscles. Make movement a ritual. Put energy into your mornings. Shift your posture when negativity hits. Use your body as a tool to break free from old thought loops. You are not just a mind, you are a system. And when your body moves, your life moves. So next time a wave of negative thinking tries to pull you under, don't just sit there. Stand up, breathe deep, move with purpose. Because sometimes the fastest way to rise mentally is to rise physically. You become who you spend the most time with. That's not philosophy, that's psychology. Your environment is shaping your thoughts, your standards, your beliefs, and your identity every single day, whether you realize it or not. So if you're constantly surrounded by people who complain, criticize, gossip, or doubt their own potential, guess what? That energy becomes yours, not because you're weak, but because you're human. We're wired to adapt to our surroundings. And if the dominant energy around you is negative, you'll start living small without even knowing why. Think of it like this: your mind is a garden. Your environment is either watering that garden with growth or poisoning it with weeds. You could be doing the inner work, reading the books, listening to the right stuff, saying your affirmations. But if you go home and everyone around you is focused on limitation and fear, that toxicity will seep in. It chips away at your belief, it makes you question your path, and before long, you shrink to fit your surroundings. That's why you have to be ruthless about who and what you allow into your space. If someone isn't feeding your soul, they're draining it. If your daily environment doesn't spark creativity, energy, or action, it's keeping you stuck. It might not be obvious at first, but energy is contagious. You absorb it whether you like it or not. So how do you change it? First, audit your circle. Who inspires you, who challenges you to level up, who believes in your future more than your past. Those are the people you double down on. And if you don't have those people yet, seek them out. Find them in books, in videos, in events, in communities that breathe growth and possibility. You don't have to do this alone, but you do have to do it intentionally. You also have to design your physical environment to reflect your mission. Your room, your workspace, your digital space, everything around you should remind you of who you are becoming, not who you used to be. Put up visuals that fuel you. Listen to content that builds you. Make your surroundings a temple for transformation, not a cage of comfort. Because when your environment is aligned with your vision, growth becomes natural. But when it's working against you, even the best mindset will feel like an uphill battle. So protect your space, guard your energy, and create a world around you that lifts you higher every single day. Fear and gratitude cannot exist in the same emotional space. It's like light and darkness, where one lives, the other dies. That's why gratitude isn't just a nice idea. It's a powerful weapon. When negative thinking takes over, when doubt creeps in, when anxiety grabs your chest, when your mind starts racing down every worst case scenario, gratitude is how you take the power back. It's how you override the fear with truth, because fear is focused on what's missing. Gratitude is focused on what's present, and what you focus on, you feel. Your brain has a survival bias. It looks for threats. But gratitude shifts the signal. It tells your nervous system, I am safe, I have enough, I am enough. And from that emotional state, you don't just feel better. You think clearer. You make better decisions. You connect deeper. You show up stronger. Fear contracts. Gratitude expands. But here's the key. Gratitude must be practiced, not just felt. It's not about waiting for some perfect moment to appreciate your life. It's about creating the habit of appreciation no matter what's happening. Some of the most fulfilled people in the world are not the ones with the most success. They're the ones with the most gratitude, because they've trained their minds to find beauty in the middle of the mess. They've developed the muscle to say, even this, I'm thankful for, even this pain, it's teaching me, even this failure, it's shaping me. Tony Robbins says it all the time. If you can't find joy in the middle of the storm, you'll never find it when the storm passes. That's real emotional mastery, and it starts with something as simple as taking 60 seconds every morning to feel real gratitude for your breath, your strength, your journey, the people in your life, the lessons, the growth. Write it, speak it, feel it in your body. Let it flood your system like fuel. Because when you're in a state of gratitude, your mind is no longer dominated by fear or negativity. It's fully present, fully alive. And when you live from that state, life starts meeting you at a higher level. Gratitude isn't weakness. It's not denial. It's strength. It's the bold decision to anchor yourself in what's good, especially when it's hard. So if you want to eliminate negative thinking from your life, make gratitude your daily ritual, not once in a while, every single day.